Welcome to Literally Books, the podcast. I'm Lindsay.
My name is Magda.
And today we are going to recover from last week's Onyx Storm craziness and do just a quick pop culture catch up.
There are so many book news that we haven't covered, and I think this is just going to center us back up into a regular schedule.
I know. We're behind.
We are
behind
really behind. So many things happening. But before we get started, what have you been reading outside of Onyx Storm?
How long has it been since we've asked each other that question?
We haven't. We have so much to catch up on.
And the answer wasn't something by Rebecca Yarros.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes, because we're like Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, now this Onyx Storm.
It's been forever.
So what have you been reading?
Okay, so I'm finally about finished with Coco Meller's Blue Sisters, which got way on the back burner.
Yeah, how's that going?
I don't like it as much as I liked Cleopatra and Frankenstein. It's good, though. I'm enjoying it.
Okay, good.
It's like familial drama, but, I wouldn't recommend it to everyone.
Okay.
And then I started A Darker Shade of Magic,
How's
the
that?
trilogy by V.E. Schwab. It's definitely different. I would say it's a pretty classy fantasy book.
Ooh.
That's the best way I can describe it. I know people are looking down on
Literary.
fantasy these days, but I'm really enjoying it because it's essentially following someone who can travel through worlds where London is a central place in all of the worlds, but what London looks like and how the magic systems work and how the governmental structure works is different in each one of those places.
I'm in.
It's really a good concept.
I'm in. That's it. You sold me. I mean,
Okay.
I really love V.E. Schwab, and she has a book that's coming out later in June too that I think we're both going to be reading. So I'm excited to hear that the trilogy is really good.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, what about you?
Okay, I had to do like a lot of breaks and reading between all of the Rebecca Yarros stuff, so I read quite a bit, honestly, this month. The first one that I read was Quicksilver by Callie Hart. Everybody has been recommending this book as a really good like romantasy novel. I was whelmed. It's fine. If you're looking for a romantasy novel, this is gonna give you that. It has fairies, vampires, a morally gray character. It's just very, I think because we have been reading so much romantasy over the past few months, it just felt a little bit repetitive for me.
Yeah.
Another book too comes out in November, and I'm probably gonna read it because it does leave us in a little bit of a cliffhanger. But it was enjoyable. I feel about it how you felt about Spark of the Overflame, I think, which is like, it was good. It was fine.
Yeah.
It was a normal romantasy novel.
A good book is still a good book. It's just
a good
not
book.
life-changing.
Yeah, exactly. The other one that I read, and this one I absolutely loved, and it was a women historical fiction novel. It's called Frozen River by Ariel Lohan. I'm still thinking about that book. And it is based on a real life person, a midwife, who helped deliver over 1,000 babies without her ever losing a single mother. And this is set up in the 1700s, y'all. So this is like a really big deal. And that's not the whole point of the story. It's actually like a mystery murder and like kind of dealing with the politics at the time. It was fascinating. And the ending was one of the most satisfying endings that I have read in a long time. It was just perfect. I loved it so much. And I'm still thinking about that book.
I trust you on the historical fiction. I forgot to mention this, but I read The Women
Yes,
based
you
on your
did.
recommendation. Yeah.
What did you think?
I loved it and I didn't like things about it.
I get that.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. Like, I really enjoyed that book and I still think about it. But there were definitely things in the writing and the storytelling that annoyed me a little bit.
Yeah. It built a lot of empathy in me for veterans, but I didn't find it satisfying. So to hear you say that this one is satisfying, that motivates me to read it.
It's one of the most satisfying. I was talking to her friend Lauren, who also read it, and she's like, that was one of the best endings. And I'm like, yes, it was. It was perfection. The other one that I read, and this was based on your recommendation, was Chain Gang All-Stars by Nana Kuwame Ajay Brenia. It's really good, Lindsay. It's really, really good. It's a great commentary in today's society about
the criminal justice system.
Exactly. And
prison
everything.
Reform, yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if this does happen in real life because everything is for profit now. So I really enjoyed it. It was a little bit of a darker theme, and it made me really depressed once I finished reading it. I was really sad by the end of it, that I had to go and read The Bodyguard by Catherine Center afterwards, and that cured that cleansed my
Just
brain
like
palette.
magic, it's all about balance.
Exactly. Which also, The Bodyguard, perfect rom-com. I don't know if I want to say it's better than the rom-comers, but it's competing really, really hardcore for me. It was
and you
so
loved
good.
the rom-comers. That's
loved
such
it.
a credit to Catherine Center.
And this one, I just love her style of writing. She's very witty. She's just a rom-com queen. She should be writing rom-com movies.
I also just want to see her speak about her art for practically days on end because she's so funny.
So passionate too.
Yeah.
All right, do you want to take a little bit of a break, and then we'll be right back with a little bit of a book pop culture catch up.
Let's do it.
All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. So now we're going to be catching up in all of the book pop culture things that we missed over the past month. So I'm going to pass it over to Lindsay, who's going to get us started.
Okay, so our first story, of course, is about Queen Rebecca Yarros. Coming off of our very busy last week to talk about Onyx Storm, she did a bunch of interviews at the release of the book and talked a lot about the TV adaptation that's upcoming. She said that she's read 2 versions of the script, which is being produced by Amazon and actually Michael B. Jordan's production company Outlier Society, which I thought was so cool. I didn't realize he was attached.
I'm so excited.
I am also very excited about that. And she says, and it is, oh my God, quote unquote. So I think she's pretty excited for it. I think it seems like she's pretty confident that it's going to be a true adaptation, which I really appreciate. The showrunner of it is Moira Wally Beckett, whose credits include Breaking Bad and Anne with an E. I did not watch Anne with an E, but I know that that is also a adaptation and that people were diehard fans of it.
Mm-hmm.
She said she won't do a fan cast because she doesn't want to influence the audience, but highlighted that it's extremely important to her that they keep representation, like that she's infused in the book, meaning not all the characters are going to be white, not all of them are going to be exactly the same. Rumors are that Zayden will be played by Josh Houston, who was in Dune Prophecy. He's a total dreamboat. I don't know if you've seen him.
He's a total babe.
He is. And he was spotted reading Fourth Wing. He's followed by Rebecca, and he has a little dragon in his profile. So I think there's a good chance, and I think he's a very well cast Zayden.
I think so too. I saw a little bit of the clips from him on Dune.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. He has a little mystery and a little cool factor.
Exactly
I get it. I think he can definitely play that part.
I've also heard rumor that Mackenzie Foy, who was Renesmee in the Twilight series, and she was also Coop in Interstellar, she is reportedly potentially going to be cast as Violet.
I can kind of see that. I mean, she's pretty grown up now. So.
I agree. She also has like a really unique look about her. She has that look of innocence. She is quite small. I think it could be a good cast.
And she could like play up the fragility of Violet pretty well. Ooh, and she's like, I mean, I just watched Interstellar recently and I loved her
One of the
part.
best movies.
Yeah, so good. All right.
So yeah, that's my Rebecca Yarros news.
You know, there was something about this too that I think multiple people were really upset about, that the New York Times called the Empyrean series a smut reading. And I think this kind of created...
What?
Yeah. They refer to it like the rise of Rebecca Yarros and the smut dragon reading or something like that. It was
So someone who hasn't read the books?
Thank you. Exactly. People, all of us that have read this book is like, did you not even read the book? I think there's like maybe 1 or 2 sex scenes per book, and then that's it. Like everything is about the plot. It's about like the relationship between the different characters. It's about war. I don't understand. I think it was just like an opinion piece to make people be mad, which they got it. And now I cannot find the article again. Like I've been looking for it and I can't find it.
It's just such a tribute to you. Like if you think about it, there's sex things in Catcher in the Rye. There's sex scenes in Confederacy of
Game
Dunces.
of Thrones.
And they would never speak about those books that way. It's so irritating. It's such a sign of how they feel about women-centered stories.
Exactly.
And particularly like popular ones. It's just, that's so annoying to me.
It's diminishing the level of care that we have for other things, and they kind of call it, oh, that's so cute that you guys just like sex books. And it's like, that's not even what the books are. Like, it's really annoying. So yeah, I cannot find the article anymore, but I do know that even the fantasy fangirls, which their whole thing is covering the Empyrean series and ACOTAR, they were livid about it. And I can't find the article right now. I couldn't find it online. So maybe they took it down.
And here's the other thing, because I heard Brandon Sanderson speak on this recently too, that a lot of people come to his books looking for some of the romance that they have in other books. And he was like, that's not really what this fantasy is about. And I respect that. I think that's okay. He was like, I'm for it. It's just not what happens in my books. But here's why I think it's important in these books. And I'm going to get on a soapbox here. Women's sexuality has always been secondary to male sexuality. It's always been in the back burner. It's very rarely shown in popular culture. It's very like specifically women's satisfaction. And so to say like, oh, it's just porn. Yeah. It's like, well, men have gotten porn and shows and representation of their satisfaction in every bit of art that's come out over the last like century. So for these books to have a really strong fantasy plot that has a lot of action, that has, you know, strategy, war strategy, you know, comments on history and how history is written, and then this very small thing to be sex, and for them to be like, well, it's just porn. It just shows how people are like wanting women to be quiet about their own sexuality. It's not appropriate to talk about women's sexuality.
They just want to keep minimizing us, and it's frustrating.
It's so annoying. It's like, you know what? Yeah, we like it. We like to hear representations of women actually being satisfied.
Yeah.
How's that?
But the thing is, like, it's only like 2 or 3 scenes
I know.
in the per book. Like, that's not even the main focus of it. It's just so irritating. I can't find it, so I think they got the message because I went through all of the comments and people were really mad because it just felt like a hit piece, and he's just like, ugh.
Yeah, and you know
annoying.
what? Your Game of Thrones example earlier is actually perfect because even though I was like, yeah, I there are rape scenes in that book, and nobody talks about that in their
It's
articles,
just
right?
normal. It's literature.
Yeah, exactly. You're so right. That was a perfect actually comparison. So yeah, truly annoying.
Yeah, very annoying. Be better, New York Times.
Be
Be
better.
better, journalists. That is really shitty of you to say that. But maybe let's kind of move on to lighter news. Project Hail Mary. The filming of the movie has wrapped up. We are finally done with it. I saw some of the pictures from Ryan Gosling kind of as Grace, and I can see it now. I'm fully bought in, really excited. We do have a release date, a new release date, and it's set up for March 20th, 2026. And you know Lindsay and I are going to be there.
1000%. We'll be reacting the next day.
So excited for that. Okay, the next thing that I have for you, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Twisted Love series by Ana Huang. This kind of came back really, really strongly, like right after during the pandemic, really. And I am obsessed with her books. She wrote the Twisted Love series, and then she also did the King of Sins series as well. This is my reality TV guilty pleasure reads. I love them so much. And Netflix has acquired the rights for the Twisted Love series in a 7-figure deal. So way to go.
Way to go. That's so exciting.
So, we were just talking about like how they're trying to minimize women, but like there's other people out there trying to support us because this is going to be a very women-centric love stories. And I'm like really excited.
But despite themselves, and this is what people need to learn. This is what they need to take away from Rebecca Yarros. This is what they need to take away from Anna Huang. It's what they need to take away from freaking Greta Gerwig in the Barbie movie. Women in the arts makes money. Women want women-centered stories. They will make you money.
Yes. Preach. Yes, that is exactly right. That is where the money is. And we want really good ones. Don't give us crappy ones. Give us really good stories. And then you're going to get the money back. Like, why?
Think about some of the movies that have been really popular too on streaming services. The Summer I Turned Pretty, that was adapted from a YA novel. What were some of the other ones?
Bridgerton.
Yeah, Bridgerton, exactly. What was the one that we really liked that was like, P.S. something something?
Oh, P.S. I love, no, P.S. No, not P.S. I love you. It's P.S. Forgot the name.
To All the Boys I've Loved Before.
Yeah, To All the Loves I Love. Wow, good catch.
Yeah, I like that also. I'm just.
Yeah, it's annoying. It's annoying. But anyways, I'm really happy for Ana Huang. So, there are 4 books in this series. I read them all and I really enjoyed them. The name of the books are Twisted Love, Twisted Games, Twisted Hate, and Twisted Lies. My personal favorites are Twisted Games and Twisted Lies. The games one is like having to do with a bodyguard and having to protect the princess, and there's a little bit of a love story. And then the last one is Twisted Lies, which is morally gray character who falls in love with a social media influencer who is really shy, and there's a little bit of a crossover with the King of Sins stories as well, and I just loved it. It's such a fun, easy read, and they're my huge pleasure.
Okay, something you all need to know about Magda, and this is where we veer distinctly in opposite directions, and it's thank goodness I'm friends with her because I need this in my life. She has a very healthy view on love. You like a protector. You like someone who is a good man. A toxic relationship filled with miscommunication, that is not your bag.
That's why I was not a big fan of Satan.
Exactly right. Like this is, and I'm like, no, give it to me. Like she'll change him. That's not, which is not appropriate. It's not even the relationship I have at all. Like the happiest relationship I had is one where I was like, no, which is my husband. I should call that out. The person I'm married to. Good communicator, healthy boundaries. Like we like someone who is therapized and,
I love that. I love
it is deep in your soul.
Yes, I just love people that can communicate and like don't give me miscommunication tropes. Do not give me pregnancy tropes. I don't care for those things. I just love a good, healthy relationship.
You just want a good man.
Yes, I just want a good person.
I don't understand that in art at all. In life, absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe that's why Quicksilver for me, I was just like, because the guy was like very, very morally great, and the way that he treats her in the beginning is like total trash. And I was just like, I can't get on board with this. I don't like.
No,
this.
I don't ever want that. Like the reason I like Zayden is he treats everyone else like trash, but he's great to Violet.
Oh my god,
so funny.
But anyways, really looking forward to this series. I'm really excited. The stories are really great. They're just good for your soul. I love them. So way to go, Ana Huang.
So amazing.
The other thing that I wanted to chat with you about is there is this big influx of Hermione and Draco fan fiction that's been ongoing, and they're now being adapted into traditionally published books. I am so excited about this. So the most famous one is Manacle, who was written by Senli Yu, and now that's going to be coming out this in September 30th, 2025, and the name of the book is going to be called Alchemized. And it is a full-on Hermione Draco fanfic. Obviously, the names are gonna have to be changed. There's things that they're gonna have to take out. That way, it doesn't relate anything at all with Harry Potter. But this is one of the most popular AO3 reads out there. It's been taken down. So if you're gonna try to find it, you're not gonna be able to find it anymore, just because the book is gonna come out. And I'm so excited. I never thought of Hermione and Draco, but now I'm like really intrigued about this like relationship.
Okay, so I never read fanfic. I'm just not, it's not because I have anything against it. I just don't know. It's just not the world. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
But my Reels and my TikTok has so much Dramione content. And the more I think about it, one of my least satisfying things about Harry Potter has always been the relationship between Hermione and Ron. Like,
yes, I don't like that
I just
either.
want to be like, why do these smart, capable women end up with, I'm sorry for all the Ron stands out there, like a lovable dummy. I don't like that. That's like the King of Queens, like 30-minute sitcom version of love. It doesn't make any sense to me. Now, Draco, for all of his faults, is smart. He's
Yes.
ambitious. So I do understand that pairing. I kind of am here for it.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. And then that's not the only like Dramione fanfic that we have out there. So there's another one that's gonna be coming out in July of this year, and it's called Rose in Chains by Julie Soto.
Julie Soto, so
Yeah,
good.
so if you guys don't know who she is, she has recently written Not Another Love Song and Forget Me Not, which were best-selling novels.
Great romance author.
And she wrote a fan fiction called The Auction, and it's also a Dramione inspired story. So really looking forward to that one. And then there's a third one that it's going to be more rom-com vibes. So that's probably going to be right up my alley. It's set to be published on July 8th, 2025, and it's called The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley. The name of the fan fiction, it's called Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love.
Oh, I like that name.
So I don't know. I think this year is gonna be my Dramione era, and I'm really excited for all of these books that are gonna come out during the summer. All right, so what do you have for us?
Okay, so our last thing, Tomi Adeyemi's wildly popular fantasy novel, Children of Blood and Bone, is getting a film adaptation, and they have begun casting. So this novel has spent 175 weeks on the New York Times bestseller
Holy
list.
crap.
Yeah. And so we haven't read this yet. We must read it.
We will read this.
Because I've seen, so Ladarian Williams talks about a lot about, who was the author of Blood at the Root. Magda and I loved that. It was a YA fantasy novel about a magical person who goes to an HBCU. It's so good. But he talks a lot about this book being like the inspiration for that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that he was like, I just saw so little representation of like people of color and particularly Black kids in like magical fantasy novels. And this was like one of the things that he saw as like a really good representation. We need to read this book. I have to read you the casting because it's incredible. Okay, so this book, so the release date for this is in January 2027 in IMAX, of all things.
Oh my God, are we going to have to do the same thing that we did for Onyx Storm for this? Maybe not to that extent.
I mean, maybe. I think we might. So the current casting includes Amanda Stenberg from The Hunger Games and The Hate You Give. I love her so much.
Me too.
Thuso Mbedu, who was in The Woman King, Cynthia Erivo, Idris Elba, Viola Davis,
I'm sold.
Regina King. I mean, the list
I'm sold.
goes on and on and on. I am so freaking excited about it. And there are 2 sequels, Children of Virtue and Vengeance and Children of Anguish and Anarchy. So it's called the Legacy of Orisha trilogy. I think it's gonna be so freaking good.
I'm so excited. Okay, we have to read these books. We have to watch the shows, and we're gonna have to report back.
I know. And I'm excited because the director of this, who's Gina Prince Blythewood, wrote one of my favorite movies of all time, Love and Basketball. Have you ever seen that movie with Sanaa
I have not, but I keep hearing that movie is really amazing, and it's been one of those favorite romantic comedy. It's like a romance movie, right?
It's a romantic comedy. It's a friends to lovers, friends to enemies to lovers. It's like childhood best friends that fall in love. I could talk about this movie for 25 minutes.
And you were saying that I'm the romantic here, but look at you, my little romance girl. girl.
a secret romantic. I loved that movie growing up. Anyway, I just love that she's directing it. I feel like that's such a good sign, but I
Oh,
think it's going to be so good.
oh, I'm so excited. Okay, we have so much to read. I think we're gonna have to update our reads that we're going to absolutely do this year, and we'll put that somewhere. That way you guys can follow along.
I know. What is on your reading? What are your reading? Do you have a reading goal for this year? Things that you want to read?
Yeah, so I set up the 25 books that I wanted to read in 2025. I don't really set up a goal per se, but
Yeah.
I just like, okay, these are the ones that I really want to read. And, some of the ones that I just did right now, we like the Chain Gang All Stars, Quicksilver, The Frozen River were all part of that list. I also have the Ishwab in there. I have Deep End by Ali Hazelwood, which comes out pretty soon.
Wet.
AKA Wet, that's right. I have Catherine Center, Emily Henry. There's so many. I'll put up a list. I cannot remember the top of my head, but I'm just trying to at least hit those 25 books that I put on my list, and then whatever else comes after that, then it is.
Also, I don't know if you're clocking this, and it's both of us actually. We've made each other better because the like genres in the list that you just provided pretty varied. You have historical fiction. I mean, they're all fiction for the most part. Let's not be crazy, guys. We're not here to learn. But like you have romance in there, historical fiction in there, like contemporary fiction. It's speculative fiction, all sorts of things.
And that's something that I have to thank you for, Lindsay, because I feel that before we started doing this podcast, I was a very romance-centric person, and now my world has expanded a little bit more. I've been reading a little bit more memoirs. I do have a nonfiction that I have on my 25 books to read, which is a John Green book, and it's going to be Everything is Tuberculosis, which comes out in the next few months. And I don't know why, I'm like really intrigued by this, because tuberculosis has a very interesting story, or like has a very interesting history. I don't know if you know this, but one of the root causes of vampires, the mystery kind of roots from tuberculosis, because when people die of that, the bodies kind of come back up and look like they're alive like a few days after. And that's one of like the root causes of people believing in vampires. So there's a lot of lore and things around this disease that have played a very important part in the history of humanity, and I'm just so excited to read this book.
Okay. I mean, flip side too, you've pushed me into a lot of
romance.
Yes, but I think, I mean, to your point, I think I always set it aside in my brain. Like I was the New York Times jerk who's like, this is beneath me. And I have found so many amazing writers. And like Catherine Sender does a great job of articulating why romance is so important. It's like the promise of the premise. It's hope. It's love. It's all the things that really matter, rather than just like my depressing like Chain Gang All Stars, which are important. They make you think.
Yes, exactly.
But you need balance. Anyway, I agree. I'm super excited for Wet. I'm definitely going to read that John Green book. That sounds amazing.
It sounds really good, right?
Yeah.
John Green, if you're listening, come to our podcast.
Yeah.
Of course you are.
I definitely want to read Martyr by Kaveh Akbar, who I found out is teaching at my alma mater, the University of Iowa.
I also have that one on my 25 books to read, so we won't have to do a whole episode on this.
I know. We have a lot coming. Anyway, this is going to be a great year, I think.
I'm excited. And we just finished our biggest homework, which was the Onyx Storm one. So I think now we are free to go and explore all the other genres.
We're going to go on our literary odyssey this year.
Yes. Thank you for listening to Literally Books, the podcast.
Where we say what we read.
And we mean what we say. Bye.